want to do that again. The second time. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Sessions of You of the Light. We're so glad to have you here and be part of our family, and it's so dear to meet with you every week. Today, we have an amazing guest and an invisible co-host that you will see shortly. We will manifest a co-host real soon. But today is really exciting. So I want you to go and subscribe to the YouTube and put a like on that and share this out, because today we are going to learn to remote view. We have Michelle Freed with us, and she is going to be showing us some techniques and telling us some really interesting stuff from what I've been listening to so far. She's so accomplished in her remote viewing that you've been featured in 3 magazines. You've had your work published like that, and oh man, and you've worked for Homeland Security. I mean, there's so many exciting things about this that I never even knew was all part of it. So welcome, Michelle. Welcome to
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Sessions.
Thank you for having me. I'm in Chicago, where we need to stay indoors today because it's really, the smoke is coming down from Canada. And so it's really, so it's a good day to be indoors, even though it's sunny and, well, a little hazy too outside. But hello, and thanks for having me.
Well, welcome, Kim. Kim is our co-host and author of these cards and the book Activating the Flower of Love. And we're going to be having fun. I'm in Tennessee, down south of Chicago and all that. And even though it's not hazy, but today is, but every morning I could smell that smoke from Canada every morning in my chest. So I know exactly. Do you guys get it in the Netherlands? Does it come across to you, Kim?
No, not. I think the sea stops it a bit, but no, not yet.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
Well, it's so exciting today because, Kim, you don't know, we get to be part of learning to remote view. Have you remote viewed before?
No, I've not. So I'm very excited. I read a little bit and I saw your website, and I think it's amazing what you're doing. So I'm very excited to dive in to be part of this sacred conversation. So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we're all going to do today, guys. Go ahead, Michelle.
I was just going to say it's my obsession. So I at the minute that I was exposed to it, I just knew like this is my thing. So
that's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when was that? When were you exposed to this?
Well, it was like 10 years ago, I believe. I had a friend of mine who we grew up together, and she wrote 3 books on psychic development. Her name is Deborah Lynn Katz. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her. And she said to me, we kind of went in different directions in life, and we reconnected, and she's like, Michelle, you should take my class. And I'm like, that's for people that were born with, I don't have that, because I'm not one of those people that, their whole life, they had something happen. They knew. I was never like that. But I was good at intuition in terms of, like I understood people. Like I felt like I could, and I only realized this later in life, but I only realized like I could kind of be a profiler where you kind of step into the person and understand them. So I had a knack for that. And so I was able to get different perspectives of different people. So I was always like the peacemaker in an argument, or if someone needed help with something, I did really well in that area. But in terms of like what we think of as psychic and tuning in and reading people, I was like, I don't do that. So I took her class, and I'm also very kind of like scientific. I call myself like a skeptical believer. And so I'm taking the class, and one thing after another keeps happening that is, remarkable. And, I got to a point where I was like, I can't argue anymore, because there's no way I could have known. There's no way. And I was saying things about people. We were like practicing reading each other and stuff like that. And I was saying things, and they were true. And they were like really unambiguous. I mean, they were specific. Like one guy was tuning in, and I saw an image of boxed wine. That stuff that's in a box.
Yes,
and
in Australia they have a lot of those, like the
box. Yeah. So I had an image of that, and so I said to the guy, like, I just have this feeling like you need to cut down on your drinking. And it turns out he's an alcoholic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was like, how could I? I only knew this guy's first name and that he lived in New York. That's all I knew about him. So anyway.
And would you do these sessions
so remote viewing helped you to see that?
Yeah.
It was in a Zoom. It was a class, like you teach Zoom. Yeah. Like 10 years ago, it wasn't Zoom. What was it? Whatever the thing like Zoom was, probably GoToMeeting or something. It was that. And so we just, and nobody had cameras, like no one used their cameras back then. So I didn't even see the guy. So this was all just verbal. And so my friend, she was into remote viewing. So one class she goes, hey, let's do something really interesting and spontaneous. And so she just kind of gave us a little explanation, and we did it. And, and I just took to it. I really, really, I felt like this is my thing. Beautiful. So, because I like the science about it, because it's very, I don't know if you guys are aware that what the remote viewing I'm talking about really kind of started from the military. So it has a kind of protocol that you follow.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are asking, two common questions. One is, what's the difference between remote viewing and being psychic? And the second question is, why? Why do you do it? So the first question, the answer is, in remote viewing, like what we do, controlled remote viewing, it has a method, and we're taught the method, and we follow this method. And my personal opinion is the people that came up with this method are geniuses. Just the nuances and things that they thought of, or just their knowing of how to go about this. Like every day I'm in awe. It was Hal Puthoff, Ingo Swann, and Russell Targ. Those were the three that really kind of put this together. And I just sit here like, how did they think of that? How did they think of that? How did they know that? It's just like incredible. And then in the 90s, a civilian group came up, and they kind of made it more user-friendly, less military-like and more user-friendly. And so I really gravitated to that one, and I studied that for years and years and years. I've done over 1,000 sessions at this point. And with the experiments that we have done, I have kind of added to the method. And the military kind of method is they sit, and what it looks like, they sit at a desk, they have a pen, and they have paper, and they're following. So I use transdimensional remote viewing. And a disclaimer is, if there's only a few people teaching it, and it's John Vivanco and me and maybe another guy, John Knowles, possibly.
Oh, yeah.
If those people are teaching it, then it is the if anybody else is teaching it, I don't know what it is. And, I'm not responsible for it, because I just found out somebody was teaching it after taking my class, and they never even showed up to class. So I was like, okay. So this method is to get your butt out of the seat. So I want you to actually engage with your body, your mind, body, soul, consciousness, everything, to engage with the target, because I feel like the closer you get, the more direct and information that you're going to get. And so that's the difference, is that, and we are not told what the target is. We have no clue what the target is. We're given a number, and then we just follow the steps we're taught, and that's it. And then you just get what you get and you hand it in, and then you get something called feedback. And so like today, we're going to be viewing a photo. So at the end, I'll show you the photo, and then you guys can match your session with the photo. And that's basically, that's kind of how it's different, where when you're being psychic, you're kind of just tuning into something that you're doing, and it's more of a freestyle kind of thing. So it's like, it just downloads into your mind, and you get impressions, and things like that. And the second question, why do it? Well, because we're reconnecting with ourselves. We're reconnecting with our consciousness, and projecting our abilities forward, and what our potential is. So it's one step moving in that direction, because right, this isn't all it. I can't even believe this is it.
But I wonder, like, you also studied hypnotherapy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How did you do that before remote viewing, and
yes,
how is it different? How do you?
So that's like one of the things that I kind of change. I think I lost visual of you guys.
Okay. We can still hear you. So in the end,
okay. No, there you are. Okay.
I was trying to make you big, and it didn't
You don't
work.
need to make me
Sorry.
big. It's okay. So basically, I use aspects of hypnosis into my training of remote viewing. So, and this is a really important point, and I'm really glad you asked that, because it transitions me into a third question that people ask is, if you're psychic, why aren't you winning the lottery? Or why aren't you like a millionaire? And so I have an answer for that. So number one is we do win money. There is a protocol to gain wealth. The second is because we're human. And so I was just talking about this before the show started, that part of being human is that we have our left brain and our right brain. And this is where the hypnosis comes in, because we talk about that. So our left brain represents our consciousness, and the right brain is our unconscious. And I split the unconscious to subconscious and unconscious. So there's two separate ones. The subconscious is the place of permanent memory. I even kind of liken it to the Akashic records, where you just know everything of all time, everything is put in there. Hypnosis has the ability to pull, it's like, the Dewey Decimal System. It's like pulling the card catalog and going to get the information and moving it to right in front of you. So that's what hypnosis does. And then the unconscious is a connection of however the feelings are happening in the subconscious, the unconscious responds with your body. So, people that live in fear are probably tense all the time and have back pain, or people that are living, constantly saying the word sorry, probably walk around hunchback, like I'm, apologetic for the whole world, and they're sorry. So your body responds to whatever your emotion is. And the subconscious doesn't know language. It has no clue. It only knows what things feel like. It only knows a symbol. So you have your left brain guy, which we do need, because we do have to pay bills. and we have to do all that. So we do need that guy, but we don't want that guy to hijack when we're in our subconscious. We don't want that guy to start dominating things. And the problem is that everything is subjective. So you have to be really careful. And that's one of the reasons we stay blind to a target, because then we can be completely objective. We don't want to draw conclusions. We don't want to make assumptions. We want it to be very pure. And that's how you get the most accurate information. And a lot of people think that in remote viewing, you will see the actual picture, but it doesn't work like that. What happens is you get bits and pieces, and it all comes together, because what you're doing is engaging your senses. You're saying, okay, what does it smell like? What does it taste like? What does it feel like? What's the texture like? What's the shape like? And you want to stay at very low level descriptors, describing whatever you're perceiving. And that's really kind of that basic thing. So being human is that part that kind of comes in there and will say, like, for example, if I held up an apple and I said, I want you to describe this apple, but don't name it. Just describe it. You would come up with like red, shiny, round, descriptions like that. And your mouth may even start watering like mine did for an apple. Because I said apple. Can I have an apple?
Yeah. My first word was juicy.
Juicy.
I love
That's
that.
good.
Yeah.
So you have that. The left brain, when it hears red, shiny, round, and the left brain is going to draw a conclusion from that, and it's going to call it an apple. And it may be an apple. It may be. But we don't want to rely on that, because it may not be an apple. We just want to stick to the description, because it could be describing a truck and you're looking for a missing person, and there is a red, round, shiny truck near this missing person. And here you're describing a fruit basket instead of the truck that's helping. So, and then what else happens is, if you already start naming it as an apple, everything after that in your session is going to contribute to an apple. So we want to okay, you have an apple. Let's just, put the apple to the side, because it might be just, we don't exclude it from the session. We'll put it in the session, and we even have a name for it. It's called analytical overlay, big word. So an AOL. And so we just stick that to the side, and that's it. We forget about it, and we just move on to our session.
And how do you prevent from, because I understand, like also in my things, sometimes when I share something and I feel something, your mind kicks in and starts, indeed, like you say, okay, it's becoming an apple. But how in this remote viewing, how do you say to the mind, no, you're not in charge right now, the right brain? How do you keep that open? How do you keep that broad perspective?
Yes, exactly. So you take my class. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not kidding. But yeah, you take my class, and but it does take a lot of practice. And you do get to a point where you kind of know, you start to get familiar with things that feel right, because you're operating from feeling. So you're going to go, I feel confident calling it an apple. I really do. I really feel confident. But we also, at the same time, don't want to get stuck on that. So what you do is you kind of look at something else. So you direct yourself. So if you're getting hung up, some people can just take the apple and set it aside and then forget about it. But if it keeps coming up like apple, 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 there are techniques that we can teach you to kind of get that out of the way. So, it's like a martial art. It's like you just keep going at it, and then you finally it becomes so automatic. And but there's only like a handful, and less than a handful of people that are so good at it, and Joe McMoneagle is one of them. that.
But I love that because I also went through your website and everything, like remote viewing, it is coming back to our essential inner knowing. It's like you're almost again peeling away the layers that we have been conditioned into to again connect with something from our essential emotions, our field, our senses. So I love that. It's a pure way of, but in the end we can say, okay, this is woo or this is whatever. It is not. And I like the scientific approach as well, so that it's for everyone can understand this and can relate to this and connect to this. And yeah, so I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's a really good point. And so a lot of things that we can do with remote viewing are also personal things, like especially the fact that you don't know what the target is. So I worked for a long time with a friend, a partner, and he would task me with all sorts of things. And one of them, which really surprised me, he would just go, here's a target, go do it. And then I would do it. And then he'd tell me what it was. So this one, he said, what foods should Michelle stay away from? And let me tell you, on that session, which I had no clue, I was writing words like GMO, and I was writing hybrids. Like I thought in my mind, I'm doing aliens. I never thought I was talking about food.
That's interesting.
I described some kind of spongy thing, and I think it might be like mushrooms or something. I don't know. But you can do for personal growth, like doing a session, because there's no bias to it. You're going to get the truth whether you like it or not, And so that, so I like, and in my class, like we just recently did a target was to go to a past life that you can bring a skill to make you a better remote viewer in this life. Isn't that great?
Yes.
So that was so much fun. And my students are still staring at their papers. Even now, this was like a month ago, and they're like still trying to get more and more information about what they were getting. But yeah, that was good. But then we also do really like missing persons. We do missing animals, missing keys, missing rings. Right now, we're doing a fun one where we're searching for a treasure. And it's a real treasure, an actual treasure. It's a contest. And we're using remote viewing, and it's like the prize is $25,000. So we're, hoping that we'll get to it. Even if we don't, we are having so much fun.
Yes.
So, and there's also an aspect of remote viewing where you're doing med apps, where you're locating different ailments on people, and then trying to heal that, for people. And then also identifying, like if you're doing true crime type sessions and you need to identify people. So recently my team did the Murdaugh case for an author that wrote like a 700-page book on the Murdaugh case, which is a big, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but it was all over the news. It's this guy, I think in the Carolinas, I don't know if it was South Carolina or North Carolina, and he was a bigwig in his little town and covered up a lot of weird stuff going on, murders and things like that. So he was just on trial, and they put the whole trial on the news and everything, and it turned, he's in prison now for killing his wife and his son. But then years back, there's other murders associated with the family. So I had my student, I said, it's a true crime case if you want to do it. So that's all they knew is true crime. And then they got so much stuff. She literally took a compilation of their sessions and inserted it in the book. And because it was so spot on to her evidence that she was getting. So, yeah, there's just a ton of stuff.
And do you notice that everyone can do it? So everyone, Because indeed, as you
Everyone.
share with intuitive and psychic abilities, like sometimes people have this awareness that, but in the end, everyone can do it. But I think the beautiful thing about this is the technique as well. So you get confident through the steps you can take instead of sitting in meditation and knowing, okay, it needs to come. But then there's pressure and then there's no. I think also for our right brain, this can be a beautiful way to also get that friction off, or that I need to get something done. Or I think it's beautiful that there's a step plan or something that will guide also our beautiful right brain to open up and share. So
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing, is like, we are being psychic. I mean, it is. It just has a structure. And the truth is, like, the structure doesn't work for everyone. But for me and for people that are like me, it works. I do like the structure of it. I like being able to go back and look at my paper. It also prevents me from the subjective area, like keeping me unbiased to things, because like we were just talking before the show, and I was talking about how everybody wears a different lens and sees the world out of that lens. And we were both talking about our families. And for example, I have a sister and a brother, and then there's me. And when we talk about growing up, it's as if we had all different parents, because our perspective of growing up was so completely different. And it when that happened for me, I was like in awe, like how we all, like, we shared a room. Like, how did you have such a complete different experience than I did? It's just fascinating. So in your own family, if that can happen, think about just in life, And so when people are doing a psychic reading on you, like they're going to tune in and read, the problem, it's not even, I guess it's a problem sort of in this aspect, is that, there's a lot of something from the viewer, the reader, coming into that too. And in hypnosis, because you brought up hypnosis, I'm actually extrapolating information from you. So it's all connected to you and about you and your perspective and things like that. So to me, that seems to be, that's better for me. Like, I like that nice little package with a cute little bow on the top.
Yes, so. I love it. Yes, and I think it's a beautiful example for people to understand as well. It is like in a family, we can all have our own experience, even though we come out of the same family, had the same parents, and so that's a beautiful way. And it really is.
So it's crazy. It's so close to home. No pun intended.
Share that example that when you're working for Homeland Security that you were telling me beforehand.
So so here's an example. Here's an example of when the left brain, this is where you get into trouble. So I was doing a project. Again, I don't know who I'm working for. I don't know. They just give me a target number. And so I'm doing my session. And the first part of the session, I was getting some kind of images of kind of like maybe chaos or debris or something. And I wasn't sure if it was weather related or whatever. It just, there was things everywhere and buildings pulled apart, and it was just whatever. I was getting a land and water interface. So it was someplace that was connected to the water. And then as I moved on to the session, it kind of switched over, and I was getting what I perceive as like a computer virus. And so I was going into the details of all that. So then handed in my session and found out that we were looking at the top threats of the 2020 Olympics in Fukushima, which is a land and water because it's an island in Japan.
Right.
Wow.
And so I, okay, whatever. So we didn't get feedback because, the Olympic, that we did this in 2019. So we didn't, early in the year 2019. So then in 2021, I was washing dishes.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, I wonder, my session. I was thinking back to my session. I'm like, wait a minute, hold everything. I said computer virus, but it was a virus that threatened the Olympics. It was the coronavirus. It wasn't a computer virus.
Yes.
And so, because at the time, thinking about an actual virus was not in my scope of anything. Like, that never happened to me. It wasn't in my lens. So so that was a big lesson for me. Like, oh, that in real time happened. Like, I get it, you know.
Wow.
So that's why you know, there's a lot of skeptics, and they have every right to be skeptical, because you know it's you know, it's hard to believe. It is, because we can't always get accuracy, you know, but in some of our experiments, we are hitting above 50% significance. So a lot, you know, we were wagering on sporting events, and we were making money. We were trying to make millions. We just, like, I think we did $1 just to prove a point for science. You know, we got a pizza party. I don't know. But nowadays, I don't even know if it would cover a pizza. So how much time do we have left? I wanted to...
as much as you want. Would you like to tell us about our target today?
So I'm not telling you anything about the target today. How do you like that? But no hints, no cheating. Okay. So, and don't look at each other's papers with your mind, because you could do that too.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So I would love everyone to get like a pen and paper. We usually use like blank paper.
Yes.
Okay. And and then what you want to do is we always, like, at the top of the paper, just like you're in school, on the right side, you're going to put your name, the date, and the time. Those 3 things are really important in remote viewing, because when we go back and look at these sessions, we want to document the time you did them, because we'll sometimes even look at the cycle of the moon and see, are you better connected on those or whatever? Yeah. So you put your name.
We have a new moon tomorrow, so yeah.
Oh, see? Yeah. So we'll see how everyone does.
Do you want the full name or only your first name? Or
it's just for you for now. But
and everyone in the audience, you do this too. This is for all of us to do.
This is for all of us.
Share in the chat.
Yes. Yeah, I want everybody to have this experience. So, because you don't know until you have the experience. So what I do is the first class, we have everyone make up, you know, fake names, you know, because if we are doing an operational target, so another note is that I'm putting together a team, and I mentioned some of the fun things we're doing, but I do get people that call asking for helping to find a missing person, and some other things that some things we get paid for, some things we don't. It's not a lot of money, but maybe like a mama needs a new pair of shoes money. So I'm putting a team together, and not everybody likes to have their name on it. So we make up, you know, like remote viewing names and stuff like that. So you would put that name there, or your name, whatever you want, the date, the time, and your time zone, which those are very important. So right now it's, well, I'm not going to say, because if people watch this later. So you put your time and your date and the time zone. Then when you so you're on the right side of the paper, you move to the middle at the top, at the very, very top, and you're going to write the letters ES and then a colon.
E what?
ES. And it stands for emotional state. So this is a set aside. So we want to clear ourselves to get ready for this session. Usually we'll do a cool down but still we want to have this emotion. So the emotional state. So if you're feeling like my favorite one that I do is fear of failure. So it's FOF, fear of failure. So whatever your emotional state is, happy, tired, anxious, calm, whatever it is, you're going to put it on there, and then you're going to throw your pen down, because doing that action is actually making a physical action, setting that aside. Okay. And you can have more than one. And then under the ES, you're going to put PS. And PS is your physical state. So like, oh, I have pressure in my head, my back hurts, cramps, whatever. And then for each one of those, you're going to drop your pen. Okay. And then I want you to imagine, so that's the top half of your paper. So I want you to imagine that there's kind of, and this is not, this isn't the controlled remote viewing that I teach. This is more of a quick and dirty remote viewing, just so we can do it here. But there's a lot more to this. So we're just doing a quick one so that you guys can have a good experience in a short amount of time. So I want you to imagine like your paper as if like you can even fold your paper like into 3 sections. So you want to have like, imagine 3 columns. Okay, there's 1 column, 2 column, and then a 3rd column. Okay. The first column is going to be for your perceptions, and I'm going to talk about that for a minute. So your perceptions go there. What is the perception? Well, perception is when I give you the target number, all of a sudden things kind of pop up in your mind, and sometimes they happen in the flash of a second, and you can't remember. It's as if somebody could take a photo, put the photo in front of your eyes, and take it away real quick, and you're like, wait, I didn't see anything. And all you're really getting is maybe a color, maybe a curved line, maybe a square. Like you can't figure it out. And that's really what's happening when you're remote viewing. You're getting this flash real quick, and now the rest of the session is unpacking what you just saw. That's really what we're doing. And because we don't want to name anything, we want to describe. So we ask ourselves in our mind, we say, what do I smell? What do I taste? What do I hear? Just pay attention and don't analyze anything. Whatever you get, even if it's the craziest thing in the world, just write it down in your perceptions. When you come to a point where you're naming something like an apple, then what you're going to do is go all the way to the 3rd column on the right, and you're going to write AOL, apple. And then you're going to kind of forget about it. Then you're going to move back to perceptions, and you're going to continue. Is there water? Is there a reoccurring pattern? Is there, is it, green? Is it red? Is it, is it reflective? Is it, what's a shape? And then use your hands. Like, what is it? Does the shape go like this? Does it go like this? Can you put your hand through it? Is it solid? Is it hollow? The reason we ask about taste, if you're doing a missing person and we say taste the water, that can identify what water is near them. So is it like salty like the ocean, or is it fresh and mineral like the Dead Sea? Is it like, fresh water coming from Colorado, or whatever. So we taste, we want to ask as much to get as many details as possible. Now, so you want that list of perceptions as long as you can go. And when you think you're done, get one more. The middle is for sketches. Sketches are really, really, really important in remote viewing. sketches come off like kind of automatic writing. It's connected, a direct connection to your subconscious because there's no language holding it back. And sometimes we will draw a sketch, and like I had a student, and the target was a train on a track between two cliffs, okay? And so the train's going across. This guy put on his thing, he drew a vertical rectangle with a bunch of little squares inside.
Oh.
And he AOL'd, he called it a building, a man-made structure, a building. Well, yeah, interesting. When you take the paper and turn it sideways, it looks exactly like the train. So your subconscious doesn't care about what direction it is. It just wants to communicate with you. And in remote viewing, the more you practice, you start learning your communication with your subconscious. You start learning more about yourself, how you click, how you tick, how you work. And it's a great way to learn these things. Oh, and you get all these constant, oh, this is my class, like, oh, constantly.
Wow, I love it.
Okay, so that's really, and then the target number I'll give you is going to be at the top of the page, like under your ES and PS to the left. You're just going to put your target number there, and then under the target number, you'll start writing all your perceptions. Now, do you notice anything different about how we set up these columns?
Yeah, for me, it's almost like related to the right brain, then the left, like, and then mingling both in the, yeah.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So the stuff that's your AOL is all the way to the right, which we know that the left brain connects to the right, right hand or whatever, the dominate, whatever. So yeah, so exactly. So it's set up in that way. So your perceptions are all the way to the left, where your right brain is dominating. Then you have your subconscious in the middle, and then your left brain, your conscious, whatever, on all the way on the right. So yes. So
I love that. Yeah.
Okay. So what I'd like to do is I do a short meditation. Is it okay to do like a cool down? Like a short cool down?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
And then right after the cool down, I want you to do the session. I'll at the end of the cool down, I'll give you the target number. I'll say it a few times, and then we'll do it for about 5 minutes. I think enough, just enough to get 5 minutes, and then I'll hopefully be able to display the photo that you're viewing. Okay. So this meditation that I came up with is designed to, I call it the gauge technique. And the point of it is to be able to use guided imagery to control how much of you want to be in your left brain and how much you want to be in your right brain. And so we use this imagery that can set this every time. And what's so cool is you can also use it, like say, it's time to pay all your bills. You can do it the reverse. You can do it where you're like, well, I don't want too much right brain right now. I need to dial up my left brain. So you can use it for many, many things. Like when you need to focus on something, you activate the left brain. If you need to be creative, activate. So this is a technique you can use in all parts of your life. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So everybody just get very comfortable. And I want you, I'll explain first. So you're going to breathe in for the count of 4. You're going to hold your breath for the count of 4. And then you're going to exhale. We're going to do that a couple times. Okay. All right. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. One more time. In. 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4. And at this point forward, every time you exhale, you're relaxing more and more. I want you to put your attention to your grounding cord. And I'm going to ask everybody to remove that grounding cord because we're going to replace it with a fresh new one. Sometimes it gets old and crusty. So today we're going to remove that and just allow it to float down to the center of the earth. And replace it with a new one. And because it's your grounding cord, you can even decorate it any way you want. You can choose a color for it. Sometimes I'll put butterflies on mine, flowers, or all sorts of things. And just really take a look around it. You know, allow yourself to look at all the nooks and crannies. And then just make sure it's exactly the way you want it. Tweak it where it needs to be tweaked. Excellent. Okay. And now I want you to imagine the earth energy rising up through your grounding cord. So we do want to open that up just enough, maybe to the sides of your hips. And allow it to gently float up through your grounding cord, and go ahead and give it a color, any color that you want. And I want you to imagine it kind of in a very relaxing, slow way, sort of have a little spin to it. And as it's spinning, it's clearing out all energy that isn't serving you. And as it's turning slowly, it's rising up. And it's moving into the second chakra. And clearing out everything, all the nooks and crannies, all things that are not serving you. Moving up third chakra. It's such a gentle process, and you're just feeling more and more relaxed as all that energy that you don't need is leaving. It's making you feel lighter and freer and open. Moving up to the fourth chakra with a little turn to it. Getting all the corners in there, anything that you've missed, make sure. Set the intention that if you've missed something, it just comes to. Moving up, fifth chakra. And your sixth chakra, really clean that area out. We're going to be using that one a lot today. Make sure that you have clarity. Just remove all that energy that doesn't serve you. And then open up your crown chakra and allow that energy to kind of spill out. Just clearing your outer layers and auras. And since your crown is open, we're going to allow the source or cosmos or whatever, that higher power, and imagine that kind of flowing down like a beautiful waterfall. And it's sparkly in any color you want. And allow that to flow down and kind of blend with your earth energy as it's going downward through all your chakras. And you're actually noticing how much better you're feeling as it's floating down the sixth, the fifth, the fourth, the third, the second. Also, you have chakras in your feet. Let go out there too. Forgot about those guys. Let that go out there. And just allow this to run. Just let it kind of go itself, and you don't need to focus on it anymore. Just the intention that it's there. And now I want you to put your attention to imagine a gauge. And again, this is your gauge, and you can create anything you want. It could be a dial, it could be digital, it could be like a scale, anything you want that would be gauge-like, analog with numbers, whatever. And on one side of the gauge is a 0, and that represents closure. And the other side is 100, and that represents open. So 100 is the most open, and 0 is the most closed. And we're going to calibrate it now to 50. So either turn your dial to 50 or your pointer to 50 or your digital display, whatever you have, even something I didn't mention, and allow that to be at 50. And then I want you to move that gauge to your left brain. And watch where it goes. Pay attention to the number that you show. Okay, and make a note of that number. And then we put the gauge back to center. And then move it to the right. And make note of that number. So now, before we remote view, we want to make sure that our right brain's number is higher than the left brain. So go ahead and adjust it to whatever numbers you want, just making sure that your right brain is more open than your left brain. And in a minute, we're going to begin remote viewing. And I want you to pay attention to all your senses. You're going to project your subconscious to this photo, and you're going to describe it. Describe it using your senses. So you're going to focus on colors and shapes and sounds, textures, taste, sound, what you see, what you hear, anything. And don't be afraid to use your body. You know, if you get a feeling in your body, report that you have a feeling in your body. Is it man-made? Is it natural? What material is it made out of? Just describe. Okay, and when I count to 3, you're going to open your eyes, and I'm going to read the target number to you. 1, 2, 3, eyes open, and the target number, I don't know, it might be backwards there, but it's 8056 3127. I'll say it one more time, 8056 3127. Okay, and then just begin, just follow the directions, and it will give you 5 minutes, and then we will reveal the target. we have just about a minute left. Don't forget to use your sketching. Okay. And just put a end, like write the word end at the end of your session so that you just kind of break away from that. Let's hope I can do this.
We'll still have to describe it real good for the podcasters listening.
Yes.
Okay, so, what happened here? Let me see.
So everyone
here.
tuning in, you can maybe share in the chat what you have written down or what you to already bring in the energy.
Yeah, you guys all write it down first. I want to go last.
Me?
Yep. This is weird. Okay, I thought I set this up. Hold on a second. You can't see it, right?
No.
No, I can't yet. Did you go to the present?
Yeah, and what's really weird, I saved it. Let's see here. Let's see.
But everyone tuning in live and through the replay, feel free to share in the comments below what you got.
Okay. Let's put it under.
It is looking with remote view where the image is.
I know, I'm trying to, I thought, I never used this one before. So it wants me to grab it. I had to download it and then it's not. Okay, I found it. All right, let's hope it works. Okay. It looks like it's
excited.
All right. Do you see it?
Not yet.
Okay. Do I have to do
Yes,
something?
let me let it on. Here we go.
There it is. Okay.
No, I just added it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, beautiful.
Wait, I can't see it.
That's your time.
Oh.
Okay, so it's for everyone tuning in via the podcast. You see beautiful tall buildings at the back, and at the front there is this shiny object, but it's
It's the Chicago bean.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Can you can't see it? You can't see it on the screen?
I can now. It took me a while.
But there's so much to see in it, so it's an interesting.
Yeah. What kinds of things did you get on your? Read to me.
Okay. I had shiny, gold flowers, expanded, but I also had walls, but I think that's more the buildings. I heard a Bob Marley music, connection, network. I had, and then I had some drawings, and I don't know, I saw this round, but maybe that's then the beam, but it was not round because there was an opening in it, but that's the, and I had like a light bulb. They showed me I saw like a light, like a connection of light that was coming through. Yeah, and then so
it could be the reflection. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. And then here's a little opening on the bottom.
And you see all kinds of people in the reflection as well. So that's also like this one beam is connecting a lot of people and buildings.
That's why, the reflection is what drew me to, plus the Chicago thing. What about you? What did you get?
I didn't get this.
Tell me what you did.
Okay. I was feeling birds and feathers. I was feeling water like making ripples, and then the only thing I could see was like a cup of coffee or cocoa with a picture in it, and maybe that had ripples. And I felt love and safety. I felt electrical interference, grass, mud, and then I felt a grandfather, and I felt something about age. And then from there, I went off into dragons, and I lost it. So
I love that. But I love the bean, the coffee. This is like a bean.
Oh my God, a coffee bean. Oh.
Yes, and seeing the reflection, it's also reflection. You saw the reflection in coffee. But
there's my little coffee picture.
Yes, I see it. Yes.
So there is like a little reflection. And then also you should know this is right by Lake Michigan. So so you could have been picking up on, we had some people that when I gave them this, they're like sand and water, and then they started talking about like the Bahamas, and I'm like, oh, your left brain, because there is water here. It's just not the ocean. If you would have licked the water, maybe you would have found out that it's not ocean water. It's gross lake water.
And also the sky. When you may view it, it can also be a little bit water or
sometimes it's confusing, like if there's a target and it's a boat or a plane and you're not quite sure if you're in the water or in the sky. But doing it for such a long time, I ask myself and then I get an answer. And I you get more familiar with things. And so now I can pretty much know this is a sky or we're in the water, stuff like that. So
but it is, as you shared in the introduction before we started this meditation and this, like, you get to know yourself. So through practicing, you get to know the signals that your field, your senses are giving you and understanding how to interpret them. But it is you having a commitment to you and getting to know how does it work with me, because for everyone it will be different. And I think that's beautiful. Yes. I think if we would have been taught this as little children to keep this, because it's just a natural part of who we are. And I think that would be, because it's us trusting every part of our being to give us signals and to give us guidance on our path. So I think it's a beautiful way to remember that part again, or to reconnect to that part. So
and that's why I'm always like with my students, they actually laugh now. Because I'm like, if you're not having fun, leave, because this is about having fun. We even do stuff with Play-Doh where we'll remote view using Play-Doh just to kind of get back into our child again. There's, a lot of people these days, and it's just, it's so sad. And I get stuck in it too. It's like you're grinding away all day long, trying to make money. And, you get up, you go to work, you work hard, you get home, you eat dinner, you go back to bed, it just becomes, that's the habit. And some people really need to do this so that they could do better at that, just because they need to tap that. I remember before I started getting into all this stuff, I just remember losing myself. I just remember I was raising 3 kids really close together in age. And that's all my mind was. My mind was constantly on them. And I remember coming to a point where I'm like, I don't even remember my favorite color anymore. I just was lost. And when I started doing these things, I just felt more balanced, because I wasn't always left brain, like, giving baths, making food, do. Adding that just kind of enhances your life. And I think that a lot of people, it's definitely could step out of their comfort zone. It did for me, because I was a little embarrassed. Like a lot of times my monitors would be like, stand up, Michelle. Okay, merge and blend with the target. I'm like, I am not. Because I perceived a dog. Now get on the ground and bark like a dog. I'm like, I'm not doing that. No way.
Yes.
So but I think it forced me and pushed me, and I'm just better for it.
Yeah, because that ripples out in everything. The moment you can allow this playfulness again and you getting to know you again, that benefits
Yeah.
your family and everything. And I love, what I also love about this method is that it also allows you to do something fun, but even within your own home or within, it's not something that costs a lot of money or a lot of stuff.
No.
Also, you can just be playful in your own time and create your own bubble. Like, okay, now I'm doing this, and so it's a beautiful way to get out of your comfort zone and to step into, well, remembering and who you truly are. So I think that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
absolutely. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And
Thank you for sharing.
yeah, it's so good.
I
So
love
anyway,
that.
well done, well done.
Hey, we're looking
Thank
forward to
you.
seeing all the answers from others.
Yeah, I hope people
Yeah.
send in their
Yeah, I'm
don't be
scrolling it.
embarrassed because
Yes.
It can't be
And we'll have,
worse than mine, you guys know.
yeah,
what?
we'll let it know. And I
Yeah.
don't know that there are always three beautiful questions. And today I had the honor to ask these three questions to you. So I don't know if
Okay.
you are ready, Tromroff. So the first beautiful question is, what is your theme song for your life, or in this now moment, your favorite song that represents you in a beautiful way?
Oh, a song? A song. Oh my gosh. I should have these ahead of time. A song. What would be a song? Um,
Think of your playlist and what comes up a lot or something. That might be a clue.
hmm, I haven't really I haven't been listening to music a lot, beyond like binaural beats and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I love
beautiful.
that.
Um,
Yeah.
Awesome. My favorite.
so I
Yes.
love, I know this is going to sound crazy, but, and it's probably not what you're looking for, but I really like listening to the soundtrack of Interstellar because I
Oh,
feel like
right.
it's really powerful.
Yes.
So that I like that. And then the other one probably as close as like, that song, This Is Your Fight Song, that one, like
I
distant
don't
and
know, but
power. This
yeah.
is my fight song. I don't know. I'm not going
Oh,
to sing
wow.
it, but
Wow.
whatever.
But I also love
Anyway,
the interstellar one because that is also again a little bit connected to, well, it's stepping into the interstellar way of you in the, yeah,
yeah,
that's beautiful.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's
Time.
the second one is more about crystals. So do you have a favorite crystal you work with, or do you do something with crystals or gemstones or?
Yes. I like what's it called? Now see, I have test anxiety. So my mind goes blank. What's it called?
Oh yeah.
Moldavite.
Oh,
Moldavite.
yeah. Oh, that's so
That's my
cool.
favorite because I
Yeah.
use it for remote viewing.
Oh,
Really?
And
interesting.
because it's like a time, someone told
Yeah.
me it was a time traveler, but I feel like it works nicely. So yeah, I
Wow.
Wow.
like Moldavite.
That's beautiful. So
Ooh.
everyone tuning in, wanting to check
Yeah,
that one
it's a
out.
Moldavite. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
I love
I
it.
love that. And there's one last question. Have you had any recent extra dimensional contact or seen any UFOs?
No, but I work with a lot of people that have. I don't know. We didn't talk about that whole other life of mine where my real job is
Yeah.
LITM Media, and I do social media marketing for authors and book them on shows. I also work as a producer of Fade to Black, Jimmy Church. I'm not sure if you've heard of him, but he was on Coast to Coast. Now he has his whole Jimmy Church empire. So I'm definitely booking a lot of UFO people on that show if
Yeah,
people like that subject.
Wow. Isn't that neat? I love
So,
it.
interesting. And is there one story that kept to your mind or one thing that popped there that,
that people, well, I'm very, I, we've remote viewed a lot of things.
yes.
One
Oh,
thing that is really interesting, are you familiar with the Baltic Sea anomaly? No?
anomaly?
So there is something in the ocean, the Baltic Sea,
Yeah.
where a satellite got a view of it. You can look it up online.
Okay.
And so every single class I do, if
Mhm.
anybody that's listening to this takes my class, you just won't know when I'm going to do it.
Yes.
But I will tell you that it will come up. I'm telling you, because I am obsessed with figuring this out. It's
Yeah.
a structure, some kind of structure, very, very deep where it's really hard to get to. You know, we heard about how deep the Titanic is. This is really deep too. And the structure looks like it's man-made. It looks like a UFO, or what we think a UFO would look like. And so when I target it, obviously nobody knows what I'm targeting. So we're getting really unbiased, you know, because then they look at the pictures. But most of them are not saying it's natural. They're calling it man-made structure.
Wow.
So and the next step is to get like more deeper into like what is the origin of this structure? Where did it come from? So I guess that would be, you know, what my little side curiosity is on that.
That's where you can combine remote viewing with the Akashic records and stuff to find out.
Yeah, I mean, you're just, you know, you're tapping into, you know, you're going into the past, right? You're going in and collecting information. And through remote view, we have lots of tools. Like we teach you how to use a timeline. We teach you how to map. You know, we teach a whole bunch of different things in addition to remote viewing. So it's like a whole world. So
it's going on the inner or on adventure traveling. Like I almost see like I don't know the name of that movie with that guy that goes into ancient sites and then discovers treasures, but it feels like this. Like you then have the ability to look beyond and discover what is there.
Exactly. So, and then when you collect, you know, you corroborate with other viewers and they're getting the same thing you're getting. It's like, whoa.
Yes,
we hit something. And so that's like really cool. So, but I'm starting my next online class August 26th.
And how can people find that, or how can people sign up?
Yeah, so I think I had my email under, or my website under my name. So it's butterflyeffectcenter.com. And then just go to the remote viewing and then anybody who you can email me. Well, I want to give everybody a special price that signs up that listen to this show.
Thanks.
So my normal price is $450 for a 6-week class. So it's one time for 6 weeks. So we meet on Saturday mornings. And so I'm going to do it instead of $450, $400 for that class. So I want to make sure that they can, you know, what you could do is if you want to join, do a PayPal to me, and I'll give you the PayPal is mich721@gmail.com, and then just for $400, and then I'll put you on the registration for the class.
So yes, that's exciting. So it's beautiful gift. So everyone ready to remote view and dive into these beautiful teachings with you? Check it out. And
Thank you.
The end of August it's starting. So that's good.
I think it was August 26th. It's a Saturday. Yeah.
Yes, great.
So
thank you
beautiful.
for sharing. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Michelle. I had so much fun today. This was really great. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I hope to hear from other people and see how they did. So thank you so much.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Let me go back to comments and see if I see any. Yeah, not yet. Maybe I'll check YouTube later and see. But thank you. And so next week on our show, we have Julie Diane. And I can't wait to introduce her to you guys. And thank you. Kim, do you want to shout out anything real quick?
Just be you. No, you will know. I'm looking forward. We have a beautiful conversation the end of August. I'm looking forward to sharing my magic here, and I felt honored to be a co-host and to share this space. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. Every time I see you, you're just more amazing each time. So thank you for keeping in touch with us and being part of our family.
Thank you. I had fun. Take care.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, folks. Namaste.
Much love. Bye.
Wait, I gotta get to the banner. Where'd the banner go? Brand.